The gaming media industry is killing games before they even have a chance to expose themselves or even to live. And I'm going to be cutting this apart and pretty much just explaining why I feel this way in this episode of An Autopsy. So first of all, I just want to make this as a little disclaimer. This will start to be a series called An Autopsy, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take apart things from dead games and dead communities and really dead anything, and I'm going to take it apart bit by bit and kind of explain my side of the story, how I think things happened, how I think the game died, the community died. Basically just give my own little opinion on it, and that's what the series is going to be about. So I just want to point that out. This will be episode 2, with the first episode being the Lawbreakers Autopsy, which is going to link that in the description. A lot of my points are going to be coming from that because I'm going to talk about Lawbreakers plus another Boss Key game and Boss Key Productions themselves, and how I think the gaming media industry has butchered this game before it even had a chance to live. Now, first of all, I want to kind of explain what I think the gaming media industry is, or at least what I'm going to be talking about in this video. And the gaming media industry is really anyone that talks about the game at all, or expresses the game, or shows the game, or even plays the game, that at least publicly. So this is not just limited to IGN and GameRanks and all those people that um, kind of lay the foundation for the gaming media. The people who just kind of rate the games, talk about them, give them just a really, really quick, brief, um, paraphrase of the title. But instead, I'm also going to be talking about the YouTubers, any YouTuber that plays it, Dr. Disrespect, Ali A, anyone, any YouTuber who is at least relatively large and has played, um, the game and at least talked about the game. In particular, mostly game critics, because quite honestly, I think game critics are really stupid. I'm going to be completely honest with you, because one person shouldn't be judging whether or not the game is good. And quite honestly, that's what happens with game critics. Game critics really take a head on this gaming media industry. Um, what really made me think of this was Jim Sterling. I'll link his channel in the below, if just in case one of you guys may want to check it out. But I was watching his post-mortem video about Lawbreakers, um, uh, really Boss Key, everything really, everything Boss Key, Radical Heights, and also the Culling too. And I'm going to be talking about Boss Key, Radical Heights, and Lawbreakers this video. And I know I also stated I believe it was my Rest in Peace Lawbreakers video, or Lawbreakers of Proper Burial. I said I was going to stop talking about Lawbreakers, but I feel like that it can be used in this very, very strongly, and it can be used to express my opinion. So, yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know, Lawbreakers is shutting down its servers, PC and PS4, on September, I believe, 13th. Maybe it's 14th. It's one of those two dates. Maybe it's 17th. I know it starts with a 1, and it's not that high. But basically, so that's only a few months. I believe at the time of uploading, that's just over 2 months, giving us just over 2 months to play. And right now, it is free on Steam, but not on PlayStation. First of all, that's bullcrap. It's entirely possible to make a free-to-play game. It's not as difficult as they're making it seem. I feel like that would be a really cool thing to do. Maybe even just free for PlayStation Plus would work. But they're not even doing that. They're not putting any effort to helping the PlayStation 4 community, which honestly I think really led to this downfall, because the PlayStation community was a backbone of the Lawbreakers community. But anyway, that's for a different time. I'm going to talk about how the media, the gaming media, completely butchered this game. And like I said, I'm going to mention Jim Sterling's video on Jimquisition or whatever. I'm going to be talking about him and how pretty much he sums up exactly what my points are, and not in a good way. He's pretty much the stereotype of all of my points. And I say that because, well, first of all, he pretty much is everything that I'm saying. So what he does is he brings up all the negatives about the game. In fact, he calls it an Overwatch clone. Now, alright, I'm going to give you guys a brief warning. I'm triggered right now. Mainly because this is a very ignorant and absolutely stupid opinion to make about this game, and it makes me wonder if he even played anything past 2 minutes of the beta, because Lawbreakers is nothing like Overwatch. It's not even close to Overwatch. The only similarity they have is that they're both hero shooters. That's like trying to compare a cymbal and a drum because they're both percussion instruments. It's stupid. They're not anything similar. You hit them both, but they make different sounds, they're different pitches, they have different purposes, they're completely different. That's what Lawbreakers and Overwatch are. Yeah, they're both hero shooters, but like I said, that's like comparing a cymbal and a drum because they're both percussion instruments. That's really, really, really stupid. Because, first of all, if you're going to compare this game to anything, you got to compare it to at least Quake, Unreal, any of those arena shooters from back in the day. Maybe even Halo, like early Halos. Compare it to even that. You can't compare it to Overwatch because it's a hero shooter. That's stupid. That's absolutely ignorant. That's blatantly ignorant. And that really triggers me because, quite honestly, this is a big thing that led to the downfall. So many gaming media people, Jim Sterling, as I'm talking about now, I believe even Jack Frags even said something very, very similar to this, of saying it's just an Overwatch clone or just very similar to Overwatch. But even they don't even play the same. They don't even have the same game modes. That's what makes me laugh because, Overwatch has these kind of slow, methodical game modes. You have control, you have payload. These game modes that are meant to take a little bit, kind of like Battlefield. The game modes are supposed to be stretched out a bit, have a bit more action, or at least action for Overwatch. Because if you were to put Uplink, which is a Lawbreakers game mode, which is pretty much capture the flag neutrally, neutral capture the flag. If you were to put that in Overwatch, you probably wouldn't get anything, especially because of how the map design works. Nothing is similar about Overwatch to Lawbreakers other than hero shooters. Not even the heroes play the same, and it really makes me mad because that just shows how ignorant a lot of these people actually are. And I'm not gonna lie, it makes me kind of mad because it's a stupid assumption that killed the game because of how these game critics and these gaming media people just completely butchered this game by simply saying it's an Overwatch clone, even though it's not even close. Like I said, if anything, compare it to Quake. I would be fine with this if you compared it to Quake because they're actually very similar. But if you compared it to Overwatch, out of all games you could have compared it to, you are ignorant and clearly you've only watched maybe 2 or 3, minutes of gameplay from the beta, or even played for a minute or two during the beta. That's really all I can come to a conclusion with that. Now, so I kind of went over that because that's pretty much all that happened with Lawbreakers. The gaming media butchered the game by saying it was just, a copy of Overwatch. It was just the same thing, the gaming industry was tired of hero shooters, even though, quite honestly, it brought a lot new to the table, like a zero gravity mechanic. It brought a whole lot to the table that, quite honestly, I feel was good. It brought things to the table that I feel freshened up the shooter industry. It brought, this sense of just, I can't really explain it, but it felt fresh. If you played the game, it felt fresh. Especially all you people in the Lawbreakers PS4 community, because I know that there's literally no other game like this on PS4. There's not a single game. Not Overwatch, not Paladins, not any game on the gaming industry. And it would be the same as if a CSGO clone came out, on PS4. People on PC would probably be like, oh, I could just play CSGO, it's better. But even though, I mean, that's kind of a bad argument. But I'm just saying the PS4 community is lacking games like this. So it's original to us. It's new to us. PC, maybe not a whole lot, but it still brought a lot of new stuff to the table. And quite honestly, I just don't think people looked at it good enough. People gave it, a skim over. They saw the trailer. They saw a little bit of it. And they were like, oh, it's just Overwatch. I'm going to go play Overwatch. That's kind of how it was. Radical Heights, however, I think was a mix, especially in my opinion, it was a mix of two things. First of all, it was stupid for Boss Key to release Radical Heights that early. I get it, it was an extreme early access. But I justify it by knowing one thing that a lot of people don't even mention whenever they talk about Radical Heights. And that is the fact that Boss Key needed to get something out as soon as possible. And they couldn't update Lawbreakers. That wouldn't do anything. Let's be honest here. It may bring back a few original players. It may, get 1 or 2 new players here and there. But for the most part, it wouldn't have done anything. It wouldn't have done diddly shit. So whenever it comes down to it, updating Lawbreakers would have done nothing. However, if they were to release a new game, maybe get their label out there, then they could get a bit of a boost, get some people on their new game, plus a little bit more people on Lawbreakers. It's a foolproof idea. But the thing is, they didn't have a game to launch. They had their passion project to launch. A lot of people don't even mention this. This was a passion project. It wasn't even meant to really be a game. It was just kind of, they're throwing stuff in. Have you noticed how many recycled assets from Lawbreakers are in Radical Heights? The menu sounds, everything's like really similar. A lot of gun sounds, very similar. So I just don't understand, why people are saying, oh, well, this game clearly wasn't ready. It obviously wasn't ready. They said it wasn't ready, but they needed to get something out because Boss Key was failing because so many people were picking apart all the negatives about Lawbreakers and all the negatives about Boss Key. Like they're picking cherries from a cherry tree, cherry bush, whatever cherries grow from. Anyway, so they're picking cherries, right? But they're only picking the good cherries. And by the good cherries, I mean the negative things. They're only picking, the fact that there was lag at launch. They're only picking the fact that, the betas, were incredibly unbalanced, like any other beta should be. That's the reason we have betas, is so that way we can balance things and give feedback. But instead, they just threw rocks at Bosky and said, here, fix this. And just pummeled them over and over again. And after a few days, after getting pummeled by the same thing over and over again, they say, why didn't you fix this? And then they get mad because, they're a team of small people. They're a small team. They can't fix things as fast. And I understand that's a stupid excuse, but quite honestly, it's true. They're not Treyarch. They can't fix something right away. And by the way, Treyarch wouldn't fix something right away. I just want to point that out. But no one seems to care about that except for a few people. Optimus in particular. Optimus' channel, he's already picking apart the beta and saying everything he hates about it and how he doesn't even have faith in the game. Oh my god, I'm running out of breath. I'm talking a bit too fast. Let me slow down a little bit here. Woo, so there was a lot of information in that last segment. I'm just going to kind of refresh your minds real quick. Basically, pretty much what I said is that the gaming industry picks apart everything about, every single game, which is okay, but they only pick apart negative things, especially with small developers like this, who have a chance at beating Activision. And it's almost like some sort of, it's kind of silly, but it's almost like something from, say, like a movie where they're trying to, people from this company are trying to keep a monopoly. It's almost like Activision pays people, it's almost like Blizzard, Epic Games pay people to say these things about the game to make it to where the game has a lower reputation. That's how bad it is. That's literally how bad it is. And I hate having to say that, but that's how bad it is. Anyway, so back on the topic of Radical Heights. Radical Heights was a battle royale game that was kind of released. It was kind of pushed out the ass of Bosky. I understand that. I don't agree with the decision, but I understand the decision. They needed something to go out. They needed to push something out. And that's what they did. They pushed something out, even though if it was a half-ass game, they pushed something out. And the thing was that even though it was extreme early access, which once again, I'm not trying to say that I justify it. I'm just saying, or not that I agree with it, but I justify it. I don't agree with them having extremely early access. I don't agree with this, but I also don't agree nor justify people butchering the game in extremely early access, talking about how the textures weren't ready, talking about how the game is bad. It wasn't ready, but it wasn't bad. They're not the same thing, believe it or not. Just because a game isn't ready does not mean it's a bad game. I mean, this isn't the best comparison, but look at Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare wasn't necessarily a bad game. It wasn't what the community wanted, so they considered it a bad game. Once again, talking about how the community and media butcher games before they have a chance. The trailer, not even the launch trailer, I'm pretty sure it was the reveal trailer, received so much dislikes just because it was not what the community wanted, so they decided, let's dislike it. It's already not a good game. I don't think, quite honestly, I could have just made that video with that one statement, Infinite Warfare. The fact that they didn't even give the game a chance at all. There was nothing about the game that they knew was going to be bad, other than the fact that there was pretty much confirmed exo jumps. That's literally it. And here you guys are, destroying the game. Okay, so at the end of every episode, I'm also going to talk about something positive. And today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a game that is to come and is actually along the lines of Lawbreakers. For those of you who are mourning the loss of Lawbreakers and have been crying since the announcement that it's going to be shut down soon, I'm here to lift up your spirits. There's a game called Splitgate Arena Shooter. I believe it's called Splitgate Arena Shooter, but it's at least called Splitgate. And basically, what Splitgate is it is an arena shooter, and it's on the long lines of old Halo games. Currently, it's only confirmed to be launched on PC. But after a bit of Q&A, after a bit of me talking around, I found out that there's a chance it's going to be released on console. So especially PS4. So those of you guys who are mourning the loss of Lawbreakers on PS4, there may be something coming out, and currently it looks like something along the lines of Lawbreakers, visually and gameplay wise. Now, it's not a hero shooter, it's simply an arena shooter, like I said, like old Halos, but it's along the lines of an arena shooter, which was what Lawbreakers tried to be. Um, and so I just want to raise your hopes. Also, just an FYI, this game was going to be launched called Wormhole Wars. So if you've heard of Wormhole Wars, you may know what Splitgate is. They're the same thing, just they recently changed the name. I believe they changed it about a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. They changed it, they changed the logo. They're adding some snipers. It's still in some playtests. You can join their Discord. I'm going to link it in the description below if you're interested. You can ask around, you can join. There's a meme channel that should encourage most of you. But there's a meme channel, and pretty much, yeah, it looks fun. I have yet to play it though, but I have high hopes for this game because to me it looks like old Halo, which I had a lot of fun playing, and quite honestly, it looks like something that could, fill a little bit of the hole of you Lawbreakers fans, who are still mourning the loss of Lawbreakers. So, yeah, I just thought you guys might want to know that, but that's going to be the end of this video. For those of you loyal viewers, you may have noticed there's a different everything to this video. A different intro, a different, looks like different editing. That's because I'm trying a new editing tactic. And if you enjoy the tactic, I encourage, you guys to leave it in the feedback. If you prefer to use my old video editor of Share Factory, also drop that because either way it helps me, get feedback and I love it. So yeah, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Probably new upload coming out soon. I actually have a few ideas that I really want to get out. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.